9/11 attacks, 2001 USA, the day that changed world security forever. Imagine waking up on a normal morning, and before the day ends, the whole world has changed. Not because of a new law, not because of a war already happening, but because of one shocking attack that turned the most powerful country in the world into a scene of fear, smoke, and confusion. That day was September 11, 2001. And if you want to understand modern politics, global security, and why the world became so suspicious, more militarized, and more divided after that day, then 9/11 is one of the most important events you must know. Welcome back to Dan 18, where we break down countries, power, history, and global issues in a way that is simple, smart, and unforgettable. Today's topic is the 9/11 attacks, a tragedy that did not only affect the United States, but changed the entire world. This was not just an attack on buildings, it was an attack on confidence, security, and global order. What happened? On the morning of September 11, 2001, 19 members of the extremist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 passenger airplanes in the United States. 2 planes were flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A 3rd plane hit the Pentagon, the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense. The 4th plane, known as United Airlines Flight 93, crashed in Pennsylvania after passengers fought back against the hijackers. Within a few hours, nearly 3,000 people were killed, and the world was in shock. The images were unforgettable. Burning towers, collapsing buildings, terrified people, and a nation trying to understand what had just happened. Why did it happen? To understand 9/11, we must understand the group behind it. The attacks were planned by Al-Qaeda, an extremist terrorist organization led by Osama bin Laden. Their ideology was dangerous and violent. They believed they were fighting against American influence in the Muslim world, especially because of U.S. military presence in the Middle East, support for certain governments, and wider global power politics. But let us be clear. Terrorism does not represent Islam. Terrorism is the misuse of religion, politics, and anger to justify mass murder. 9/11 was not a religious war. It was a terrorist act committed by extremists who wanted to spread fear and force political change through violence. The world reacted instantly. The United States declared a global war on terror. Security levels increased in airports, borders, embassies, and public places across the world. People began seeing security checks, liquid restrictions, metal detectors, surveillance systems, and stricter immigration rules. The message was clear. The world had entered a new age of insecurity. For many countries, 9/11 became the turning point where national security became more important than ever before. One of the biggest consequences came quickly. The U.S. and its allies launched a military campaign in Afghanistan in late 2001, targeting the Taliban government that had provided shelter to Al-Qaeda. This war lasted for many years and became one of the longest conflicts in modern history. Before 9/11, many people believed terrorism was a local problem. After 9/11, it became a global threat. Countries around the world strengthened intelligence sharing, airport security, border control, and anti-terror laws. At the same time, governments also increased monitoring of suspects, online communication, and financial networks. This created a serious debate. How do we protect people from terrorism without destroying freedom and privacy? That question is still very important today. The human and social cost. But behind every political decision, there were real human lives. Families lost loved ones, workers never returned home. Firefighters, police officers, and rescue teams risked their lives. Many survivors carried trauma for years, and another painful result was the rise of Islamophobia in some parts of the world. After 9/11, many innocent Muslims and people who looked Muslim were unfairly blamed, hated, or treated as suspects. This is one of the darkest lessons of the event. When fear grows, justice can weaken. Why 9/11 still matters today. Even now, more than 2 decades later, 9/11 still matters. Why? Because it changed. The way airports work, the way governments fight terrorism, the way intelligence services cooperate, the way people view security, and the way many societies think about fear and identity. It also taught the world that modern threats do not always come from armies and tanks. Sometimes they come from small groups, hidden networks, and radical ideas. That is why strong institutions, good intelligence, social unity, and wise leadership are necessary in every country. So what is the lesson? The lesson is not only about America. The lesson is for every nation and every country that wants peace and development. A country cannot build the future if it is weak in security, divided in society, or blind to extremism. Peace must be protected. Youth must be educated. Leaders must be alert. Societies must reject hate before it becomes violence. Because terrorism does not begin with bombs. It begins with radical ideas, division, and the loss of human value. 9/11 was one of the most painful days in modern history. It killed thousands. It changed global politics. It reshaped security forever. And it reminded the world that peace is fragile. But it also gave the world a warning. If we want a safer future, we must choose unity over hatred, intelligence over chaos, and justice over revenge. This is why 9/11 is not only history, it is a lesson, a warning, and a turning point that still shapes our world today. This is Dan 18.